So I am here at the Kurt Gowdy State Park Visitor Center getting myself ready for the Cowboy Tough 24-hour adventure race here in the park. I figured I'd go through a couple things I'm doing to prep, just because a lot of people that watch our videos look at them as kind of research and how to do it, and not that we do it right, but at least you can learn from some of our mistakes. But right now let's talk about the bike. Normally, in big mountains, I'm riding a Santa Cruz Hightower, which is way more bike than you need for an adventure race. Normally in an adventure race, you're gonna want like a cross-country bike. It's not as raked out, it's got smaller shocks, and I actually prefer a hardtail. So this is a fiberglass Motobecane Taz. It's got all the high-end components. The only thing that's not, I mean, Motobecane is a name brand, but it's just not the ones you see at your local bike shops, which means I was able to get this bike for probably $1,500 cheaper than if I would have gone with like a Santa Cruz or a Specialized. I did add a Blackburn seat bag or a frame bag, which I have a tube, a bike repair kit, and I just added my food. I haven't seen the maps or anything, so I just added enough food to get me through maybe, I don't know, probably 8 hours, maybe 10 hours. I am fat adapted, so I don't necessarily have to eat, but I do want to make sure I do eat, just because I am going to go hard and fast in this race, and I would really like to end up on the podium. So I'm actually going to not play around. I'm actually going to eat carbs. The other thing I did is I put a feed bag up here. This is for my quick access stuff. So take, for example, the bike repair tool. I don't want to have to dig through the big bike kit. I also put some chain lube, and I have I have an extra bike computer pre-programmed just in case that one goes bad. I have a second one in there if I need it. Since this is only a one-night race, I'm not going to put a spare battery in there because I already know I have a hand torch, I have a headlamp, I got plenty of backups if any battery goes bad. But what I am doing is I'm making sure I put in a high capacity, I think it's 3,500 milliamp Phoenix battery. I got it already in the light, already in my headlamp, and then again I have a hand torch for checking CPs and a backup, that's my backup battery, and I also have a normal headlamp for trekking. So I've got way more lights than I need. I am using the Phoenix on the back, which has no problem going at least one night, if not two. Also, just because we got done with Expedition Colorado, we also have a headlamp or a tail light on the helmet, so you're kind of lit up like a Christmas tree if you're going down the road. This Taz is a 1x12, Eagle GX, and it performed fabulously in Colorado, and I really like this bike, and this is the bike I use only for racing. When I get home, I ride my other Santa Cruz or any other bike. This is the only thing this bike does is go racing. So I did put new tires on it. When it came with very knobby tires similar to these, but that's too much for an adventure race. They're also kind of heavy. So I put on, this is a Maxxis Icon, which has, it does not have a lot of knobby treads, just enough to get by. It's a very good, very fast tire on gravel. And up here, I think it's a Maxxis Forecaster. Maxxis Forecaster. It's got a little bit more knobby, but it's still a much faster tire than the super knobby tires that typically come with brand new bikes. All right, so that's my bike setup, and I will continue this when I get back inside the van. So I had to get back inside the van because it's so windy. I'm worried the GoPro is not going to pick up good sound. On this side of the Blackburn is a tiny pocket. I use that for scratch packets. So on the one side's food, this side I can just unzip it and grab a scratch packet, put it back in my water bottle, and that keeps me, I think they got 80 calories in them, so it actually counts as food, and it also has all the electrolytes and everything you need. This is gonna be probably a hot race. It is dry, but during the day it's a lot of sun, and so I usually put one of these or a Propel in every single water bottle that I get. One other thing, okay, when you get your bike set up for a race like this, you definitely want to go through all the components on the bike. For example, you want to come in here and check your brake pads, make sure you have plenty of padding. Definitely check your chain to make sure It is cleaned. Like I use Simple Green with one of the chain cleaners, and then I lube it. In this race, I'm gonna lube it using dry lube, and I lubed it today, so it'll be nice and dry before the race tomorrow. You also want to check all your cabling, make sure you don't have any chafing, like where the cable housing on your dash, like any of those cables, you want to make sure that they are not you know, bent or too long, or you know, rubbing together and all of that. You definitely want to go through and check all of your shifting, like go through top to bottom a few times just to make sure all the shifting is right. Make sure your lights are all charged. I think I already talked about that. I did add a autopilot map board, and sometimes they don't fit perfectly on the bike. So what I've done, I added some tape. This is just tape like out of a first aid kit. And then I added a bunch of rubber bands. Andrew and I are trying this rubber bands to give something that has give. And then we put 2 sets of zip ties on top to make sure that it stays tight. I did add, it might get windy here, I'm gonna talk a little bit louder. I did add double-sided tape and added a Sunto Global compass up here. I've never replaced this and there's no bubbles. So what this does is this just makes sure that as I'm riding, I can, I know what direction I'm going. I typically leave the map board, I don't spin the map board, I leave the map board north up when I'm on the bike. The other nice thing about this is the light that's down here shines up through this, so I can actually see the compass at night. Now, it is kind of dirty, but I can see the compass at night. The other thing that's really cool, whenever you get one of these bike computers, you need to know the millimeters of your tire all the way around. So I went to a fabric store, trying to get back in here where the wind's not. I went to a fabric store and I got like a measurement tape that has both millimeters and inches, and I measure the front tire to get the exact number of millimeters that the tire is after it's pumped up to race level. I do ride a little bit tighter tires when I'm racing because I want to be able to go faster, and I don't want like a small leak. You know, if you're riding low pressure, then when a leak happens, you have to put air in it. If you're riding kind of high pressure, it can leak a little bit and you can still get by. So whenever you measure your tire and get the exact distance, if you ever reset this battery, then you have to figure out your distance again around the tire, because it's like 2,335 millimeters or something like that. So what I've done is I've taken and written each of my bikes. I can tell what the diameter is of the tire, and so that makes it so it's real easy to reset the bike computer as needed. So I think that's everything. Basically, just go. Murphy's a mean mother when it comes down to adventure racing. So go through all the different things on your bike that could possibly go wrong. I like to build a robust bike kit that has a lot of different things that I can fix the bike. I mean, I'm talking, I carry a derailleur with me, shifter cables, extra brake pads. I mean, I carry lots of stuff because normally in these expeditions, you got 4 people and just something always seems to go wrong. But that's, I think that's it on the bike.